Hello, welcome to Talking Travel. My name is Keegan Carlson. Today we have Logan Hacking here with me. And it's our first episode starting off the new year, right? Talking about travel. We have recorded some other episodes that will release at a later date, but we're officially starting the first episode with kind of a recap of our last year, talking about some of the trips we've gone on. This is a kind of a passion project, the Talking Travel podcast. I've really wanted to do a podcast for a while, and the topic has kind of changed, but we've been traveling so much the last couple of years, and I just really want to be able to talk about our trips that we go on and have other people that go on incredible trips and talk to travel content creators and influencers and different tour operators and just anybody in the travel industry and hear all their incredible stories, because we got a lot of crazy stories from some of the trips we've gone on, huh?
Yeah, definitely.
What do you enjoy about traveling?
That wasn't on our list.
Okay, well, in general, we travel a lot.
We travel a lot, yeah.
What are some of the things that you really love traveling? Well, I'll just start too.
I'm just like everybody else. They like going to a new place, seeing something new, fresh, different, the way different parts of the world work and the way that people are.
And my background, I'm a film director and I do photography. And so obviously I love to travel and capture that and tell her stories and stuff. What's your background?
I'm a chef, a private chef. I work for families in their homes.
So the traveling, when we travel, we love to eat incredible food.
We do go, food is probably like 70% of our trip.
Right. Yeah. It's a lot.
So this past year, we've probably eaten at least 6 Michelin starred restaurants.
Yeah, and 2-3 Michelin starred restaurants, which is insane to think about. And it was both our first time going to a 3 Michelin star restaurant.
Yeah, it was pretty incredible. I mean, all of them were incredible in their own way.
Right. And so today we're just going to we're not going to like go over every trip we've gone on. We're just going to kind of talk about a few of our highlights. Like we're each blind reacting to our favorite trip overall, our favorite culinary experience, like favorite food, our favorite drink. We love to go to cocktail bars, and our favorite activity, and then our least favorite activity. So, do you want to start us off with you want me to go?
Well, I guess my favorite overall, and it's probably for multiple of different reasons, would be Egypt and London trip. It was just incredible all the way around, something you would never expect, and like just like a once in a lifetime opportunity trip to do, and it like met up all of it. So it was incredible.
That, ironically enough, is also on my list of my favorite trip we went on this year, was the Egypt and London trip. We went to Egypt for 2 weeks, and then we did a week in London on our way back to the States. And we did a tour, but we added a few days on at the beginning, and then we went to Sharm el Sheikh on our own after the tour. So we were in Egypt for like 2 weeks, and I guess it's no surprise that it was our favorite trip of the year, because being there, I mean, I don't know how you feel, but for me, it was just like so surreal. It's still surreal to think that like we went to Egypt.
Well, I feel like the main things were just, I mean, you cannot describe what Egypt has to offer as far as like archaeological, like artifacts and like things they found, and just the history. It just is incredible. And I mean, even just the city Cairo itself was incredible. Like it was way more things to do and see and like experience in Cairo just itself that we did not expect, for sure.
Yeah, and I have told people like once we got back and everything, but like I knew we were gonna be impressed with Egypt, but the amount of things that we learned about the country and the things we saw, obviously the pyramids are incredible and everyone knows the pyramids, but there are dozens of other sites that are equally as impressive, if not more to a degree, than the pyramids that we didn't know anything about, and probably a majority of people don't know much about, about Egypt in general. Like going to Abu Simbel, there's this, we won't go, this whole thing won't, we could talk about Egypt a whole episode, but one of them that was like incredible was Abu Simbel, which was a temple that is in the southern part of Egypt that they built a dam and it was going to be flooded. They were damming the Nile River and it was going to make a man-made lake. And so a lot of these temples where the lake would form, they wanted to preserve them. And so the UNESCO World Heritage Site Organization basically contacted everybody around the world to try to figure out how to move this temple. And literally what they decided to do was dismantle this ancient temple brick by brick.
Well, it wasn't a temple, it was built into the mountainside, so they couldn't dismantle anything. They literally had to cut the mountain in bricks and number everything and then reassemble the mountainside like 30 feet, 40 feet above where it originally was, so it would be above the water. So that was a pretty incredible feat for sure.
Yeah, it was so incredible to be like, man, they literally, you would never know too, that we were saying, like, if you go and see it and you had never heard that they had moved it, you would never know that.
Well, I mean, through all the pictures that you see and the videos and stuff like that, you can't tell. So the only time we really could tell that was done was when we visited the site and they were telling us about the whole operation. So
yeah, we'll do a more in-depth episode about Egypt for sure at a later date, but it was so incredible. And I mean, London too was
London was incredible too. London was fun for a whole bunch of reasons, and it probably was more incredible just for the fact that we were coming from Egypt, where we couldn't eat a lot of good food or food in general. So London was just like a breath of fresh air at that point for that after 2 weeks. But
yeah,
again, we'll dive into that stuff later.
At another date. Okay, then our next favorite was our favorite food.
My favorite food, I would say I have a couple. I have two in different, I would say, kind of categories. But I'd say my favorite, like, overall, like, thing that I liked that was super surprising was this sausage roll from what was the market called?
Borough Market.
The Borough
right?
Market, yeah. And it was like the most perfect thing ever. It was juicy. It was like flaky crust, crispy, super flavorful. It was incredible. And that would be my favorite thing for like a quick bite, and probably off the top of my head. But then my favorite, like, kind of fancier food that we did, kind of overall experience was Ibid in Singapore. And that was a really fun restaurant. Just like we sat up at the bar, the chef owner cooked most of our food. He talked to us about everything about his food and why. And he was a native to Singapore, which is really cool. It's a crazy, crazy city for numbers of reasons, but it was a really fun dinner. And food was super good too.
Yeah. No, it was a really, really cool dinner. And it was a tasting menu.
Yeah.
I don't think they had a Michelin star, or did they?
No, I think it was just a mention. A mention.
Yeah, a mention, yeah. I can't remember how we found
it.
it.
I think they were new too, kind of new.
Oh, yeah. Okay, mine was, and I'm not sure if I'm saying this wrong or right, but it was Glycine on the Amalfi Coast. The dinner that we had in Italy on the Amalfi Coast at this restaurant, or at this hotel called Santa Caterina Hotel. And for me, that was like one of my favorite dining experience. Like we had so many incredible ones, but this meal
Most
I like
memorable.
I mean, a lot of them were like all really memorable, but like I literally got a tear at this dinner because like I'm not kidding you. It was just so surreal because you're literally on the Amalfi Coast. We were there at sunset. We were having this like incredible meal, and
the one thing that I remember the most from that meal is the bread service.
I know. Well, tell them what
the bread service was so cool and so fun. It's like this cart that has, you know, all the Italian breads, you know, focaccia and all the stuff, but she has literally this biggest mound of whipped butter. One or two mounds, one was salted butter and one was not salted butter. And she asks which ones you want, and she just like whips it up and then slaps it down on your plate, and you have this big like dollop of whipped butter. It was so good. So good.
Yeah, it was super fun, and we didn't even, it wasn't really like, we didn't do like a tasting menu per se. We just ordered, I think, like 8 or 9 dishes in the a la carte off their a la carte menu, and then they literally coursed it one by one and then split each one. So we each had we each had like, it was basically a tasting menu, but we went through their a la carte menu and just picked
The things we wanted.
and then they literally split each dish and then served it like each course one by one. So it was basically like, you know,
Yeah.
a couple out 2.5 hour 3 hour dinner, and then being like on the hotel property. I think it's a 3 Michelin keyed hotel. I don't know, but it was an incredible hotel. Like the hotel itself, we walked around after we ate. And
Yeah, it was really cool. It had like this elevator that goes down the cliffside down to the ocean bottom, and there's a pool down there and all kinds of stuff. There was actually a wedding going on when we were there, so there's like dancing going on and lights and everything. It was really cool.
yeah, we did not stay there, but it was really cool to see that like super high end hotel on the Amalfi Coast. And
Yeah.
everything. And we had like a cocktail at sunset. It was just, it was incredible. Okay, and then favorite drink.
I don't know if
Like
I can
cocktail?
recall the favorite cocktail name or anything like that.
Well, just
'cause
like
we've
favorite
had-
like cocktail.
We've had
experience,
a
like
lot
bar.
of them, but I would say my favorite cocktail bar that we went to was in Italy, in Naples. The La Antico Ro, I think, was my favorite. It was such a fun bar. The bartenders were really cool, really fun. They talked to us forever and just made us like a bunch of drinks and stuff by the end of it, buy stuff that we wanted and like that we liked. So that was really fun.
Yeah.
We
that
were
was
there till
so
like
good.
2:30.
Yeah, we were there super late.
Yeah, which made our ride home very interesting. It
Yeah.
was fun.
Well, just trying to get a ride home was
Yeah,
challenging.
we actually got into a ride with a guy that lived in Miami and was there taking care of his dad, and it was crazy. Like the stories and like our driver
Yeah.
was crazy,
Yeah.
but it was made part of the night.
And a lot of times, like, we're not big drinkers, but we really do like to, we kind of like the Michelin guide, we look at the 50 best list, and they have like the 50 best cocktail bars, like craft cocktail bars in the world. They have one for like North America, Asia,
Mexico, like
Europe,
whatever.
and yeah, like all those
But the 50 best ones, they're kind of fun to go off from because you can find some like really neat cocktail bars where we like that, where it's like you're spending, of course, like most of the time around $20 a cocktail, but we only are getting two, you know, so
Yeah,
it
yeah,
makes the night like you get to really like, you know, it's almost part like you're going to a fancy dinner, you know, they're like your drink is super complex like that. And the bartenders, when you're going to a place like that, really tell you about your drinks and, you know, just like you're having a fancy dinner, you know, that go through all the levels of your cocktail.
And I think like a pro tip, if you do go to one of those places, always ask or try to make a reservation to sit at the bar top, because
Yeah.
it's like a show. The way these people make cocktails is insane.
Yeah.
Like,
And
it's so cool.
We've
seeing
never-
them, like,
we've never sat up at the bar and just like been, you know, the service there is always really good and the bartenders are the ones making the drinks and stuff, so they're the ones telling you the stories about how this cocktail was made or why they came up with it, if they're the ones that came up with it. Like in the La Antico Ro, we were talking to the guy that was making all the cocktails and like coming up with all the fun things. So it was, you know, that really adds a whole nother level to your experience.
yeah. And so my favorite cocktail experience was in Singapore, and it's called Jigger and Pony. And I think it was like 3rd or 4th best bar in the world last year. And
Yeah, third, I think, in the world last year.
yeah, and I think it got knocked down a few spots this 2026. But we it was such a cool experience. We went in and their menu was in like a hardcover book, all like shot incredibly beautiful photography of each cocktail. And I can't remember the name of mine, but it was like Rotten Tomato or like Old Tomato or something. And it was in this like kind of tomatoey looking melted glassware. And I can't remember much about the whole like.
You should have had your.
I should have had the book, but anyways, it was just such a cool, like all the cocktails were incredible and the energy in there was awesome. And it was just like
getting one of the books.
It was just like the simple, it's like those little touches that make it so memorable, you know, like the menu was basically for sale. It had like a price on the back and it said ask your server. And so when we were getting ready to go, I was like, hey, I'd like to buy one of the hardcover books. And the guy went and got one and he's like, here you go, you guys can just have it. Like, and he knew we were obviously from like America and we were visiting.
We talked to him most of the
We
night.
talked to him like the whole time we were there, but it was just like, wow, that was so nice of him. And it just made that whole experience all the more special. And
yeah, it was really, I mean,
it was like hard
really
to get
cool.
into. We had to make a reservation and then wait. And then we got there early. Sometimes we were like, oh, our reservation was for like 10 or something. We're like, oh, let's try to get in a little early. And they're like, nope, you got to sit there and wait to get in until your time because it was so busy.
To do a late night cocktail with Keegan is really rough because we have a full day of activities that we are moving. I think this was like
the first
grouping.
day or like the day we got there or something. It was like right at the beginning of the trip. So we were already kind of jet lagged and tired. Yeah, love that place. If you're ever in Singapore, highly recommend going there.
Mm-hmm.
It was totally
highly
worth
recommend
it.
Singapore.
Yeah, Singapore is incredible. Okay, and then favorite activity.
I don't know if I remember mine. My favorite one I would say would be activity or experience.
I mean, they're kind of the same.
My favorite activity of like something that I was doing would be scootering in the Amalfi Coast. Like doing the scooter on the Amalfi Coast, incredible. Like that's like the best activity ever. But then my best, I would say, experience would have to be all time that blue flame on the volcano. That was like incredible.
Well, like where was it?
Blue flame volcano in Indonesia that we did on our Indonesia trip. That it was incredible. We had to get up at like, was that the 4 or did we leave at like 12 to go to that?
No, that was the midnight. We got picked up from our hotel at midnight.
Yeah, we had to leave at midnight to head to this. So we got to the base of the mountain at like 2 a.m.
Yeah. Yep.
At 2 a.m, we had like a instant coffee situation and a banana. And then we had to wait until like 2:30 before they opened the park. So at 2:30 they opened the park and there was how many thousands of people?
I think it was the most that could have done it. I think it was like
3,000
to 2,500. I think.
Yeah, they sold out all of the tickets basically that you can get on the mountain that day. So it was so many people. And so you literally, as soon as it opens, you're with the crowd of people and you're heading up this mountain on this trail. And so like we literally just like powered through and we got up to the top of it with some of the like very first of everyone. So we got to actually see the blue flames and the sunrise, which was, I mean, magical. It was credible.
Yeah.
We still have clothes that smell like sulfur because of it. Like the sulfur doesn't come out. It's crazy.
Yeah. No, it was insane to do it. And I don't think you mentioned it, but you literally are wearing gas masks as you hike down and descend into the crater of the volcano as these like toxic sulfur
because
gases are
the sulfur is coming out, and if the cloud switches or moves, it's like you can't breathe, you can't see or anything, so you have to have the gas mask on and the goggles, and even at that you can't breathe very well, so you have to like really pace your breathing and slow everything down or you're like literally choking.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah, no, it was definitely like intense,
mm-hmm.
an intense experience. But yeah, we saw the blue flames, we saw the sunrise, we had an amazing guide, really great guy.
Yeah, Yeah,
which,
he was
which
like a
definitely
young
makes or breaks the
experience for
so.
sure, for sure. We've definitely had a lot of guides in different situations, and it boils down to the guide, really. I mean, it could be the most incredible thing, and you have a shitty guide, and it's
Yeah,
bad.
yeah.
So that was really great. He was young. He was like energetic, like spoke pretty good English. So it was fun. He had a lot of questions, which I like. Like he asked about our lives and like what.
Yeah. My favorite activity, I forgot to write it down. I didn't get that far, but the one that always comes to my mind, and it's probably not favorite, but most memorable activity, was doing this orangutan trekking in Indonesia as well, and it was in the island of Sumatra, and
We definitely say memorable.
we went specifically to this island in northern Indonesia on the island of Sumatra to this super, super remote area to see wild orangutans and trek, like hike and sleep in the jungle. And we were supposed to do it for 5 nights, but we ended up doing it for 3 because of so many things that were not good.
Yeah, just like terribly wrong.
Things went we basically got giardia. We got super sick. Our guy got really sick. We were literally sleeping on the floor in the jungle in a pop-up, in like a little tent.
Not a tent, a plastic draped over roping that they lashed together. Then they lashed together like a plastic berm around this, so when it rains, the rain can't get into
So
you.
like,
And
like
bugs
bugs
can't.
can't, like the ants can't get into your tent.
Well,
and stuff.
it slows things down.
But aside from all those things, I think it was just so memorable. And I mean, it really was like a once in a lifetime experience that not very few people, put themselves through to go do or make the effort to go and do this. And the crazy thing is like orangutans are only in 2 places in the world, not in nature. They're both in Indonesia. They're on the island of Sumatra and the island of Borneo. And unfortunately, they're endangered animals, and they're most likely going to go extinct in our lifetime. And so to see them in the wild, 100% wild orangutans, and we saw like the huge alpha male with the huge cheeks, literally 50 feet above us, swinging literally from tree to tree. I mean, that was so incredible to see that.
Mom and a baby.
We saw mom and a baby. We saw
so many incredible, cool things on that trip, but it's like the overshadowing of all the other things is also hard.
It is really hard, but I mean, that's probably why it was like more memorable than favorite, because there were definitely things that were great, but the whole time, like, we were not happy there the whole time, pretty much the whole time.
And it's another example of like, we really began to realize that our guide didn't like us either.
Our guide did not like us, and he had it out for us. And it was like, he went out of his way to make sure we went on like the hardest trails. We were like carrying all of our own stuff with us. Like, I was carrying probably like 40 pounds of camera equipment with me, and it was like 95% humidity, 90 degrees. We were dying. It was so hot, and we haven't been sleeping. We ate the same food for 5 days. It was really 5 days because we were there. You had to stay at the like guest house a couple days before, and like it was the same food. It was bad water, like just drink. It was just all
our water was just boiled water from the river that had all kinds of shit floating in it and blah 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 blah. It was pretty rough.
But if you take all of that put that aside, and you really are like, man, I saw wild orangutans in Indonesia in the jungle. It was like
we saw all kinds of different monkeys. We saw like just so many things, countless things that were incredible that you won't see anywhere else also. So
yeah. So that was my favorite. What do you have a least favorite activity?
Yeah, my least favorite activity. Yes.
Okay, what was it?
I remember now. My least favorite activity, that I've done yet on traveling. Can you guess?
Well, I don't know if it's the same as mine.
Take a shot.
Was it on that same trip?
Maybe.
Was it in Singapore?
No.
Oh, okay.
My worst thing is was driving in Indonesia.
Oh God, yeah, that was. Oh
Like
yeah,
that was my
bad.
absolute worst experience that I've ever experienced traveling. And I love to drive in other countries. I love to drive everywhere. But this place was like unimaginable, hellish driving. Like, ugh, I just reliving it is like too much.
It was it was all just we should have. If you ever go to Indonesia, whatever you do, just hire a driver. Don't rent a car. We had read that you could rent a car, and blogs and the YouTube videos and stuff. People rent cars. Don't ever do it. Don't think you can do it.
Don't put yourself through it.
Don't
Just
put
don't
yourself
put
through
it.
it. The drivers are super cheap. Just hire a driver. It was like white knuckle life or death driving for like a week, and that's not an exaggeration at all.
No, not at all. And then it's like we had to get this card to pay through the tolls, which never worked. And like I mean, every bit of the driving was so hellacious that it just made the trip pretty.
And our car our car broke down one day. It was a 3-cylinder car, I think, right?
Yeah.
3-cylinder. I mean, our freaking lawnmower has more cylinders than that. Had no power. We barely could make it all the way up to Mount Bromo, up the mountain.
Yeah, to Mount Bromo, we were literally going like 3 miles an hour, and I thought at any minute it was going to give out when we were literally going to roll back down the mountain. There was nothing else like we could do. We were just like, please, for the love of God, flatten out a little bit.
Yeah, and then to the cherry on top was the air conditioning completely shit the bed. Not even towards the end of it was
In
like
the hottest part of our stretch of our trip, and it was the longest stretch.
And a road was closed, so it was supposed to be like a 2-hour drive to our next hotel. It ended up being like 7-8 hours. We had to go all the way around. Halfway through that was our air conditioning completely shit out. It died. We had to terminate our rental agreement. They had to come get the car. We ended up taking the train back. It was like so bad.
Yeah. And it was like a 14-hour train ride, which sounds terrible to like anyone, right? A 14-hour ride. We were so excited for a 14-hour train ride after that car ride.
Incredible.
But it ended up being such a great train ride. Like I can't even tell you that it was 14 hours. I don't even remember sleeping on the train.
I don't think we slept.
I mean, I just looking out the windows the entire time was incredible because it was at the once.
The trains in Indonesia are incredibly scenic because you're now going through the countryside, whereas like all the roads, like there are only roads in the city. Like everybody lives on the roads.
Well, there's no back roads. There's no nothing. There's just like one road that loops the entire island, and everybody lives on this road. So you never get out of traffic. You never get out of anything. You never get to see anything but not building, shack shanties.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. So the train, you actually got to go through these like incredibly beautiful rice filled terrace like farms like everywhere, just beautiful. And we saw all kinds of like really fun birds.
Yeah, the kingfishers that would be on the power lines, and they would
dive
down as the train went by, and they were like bright blue
and bright blue with a red neck.
Yeah, so cool.
Yeah.
So my least favorite, mine was more of like a traditional like tour with like a guide and everything, but it was this food tour we did in Singapore. And it was like at the very beginning of our trip.
It was the first food guide tour we've done.
Yeah,
ever.
The first like food tour we have really done. And we thought it was going to be this great thing. The website, the reviews, everything talked it all up. And it was pretty expensive. And it was so bad. And they said you'd get like 15 bites. We maybe had tried like 12 different things, but it was like some of them were things that we had already had, like baklava, right? Wasn't it like baklava? We've already had baklava. And like the thing that was so frustrating was if you ever are in Singapore, you go to these hawker stalls and these like huge hawker, like basically like food courts, but the food there is so cheap, and you can literally just go, and you can of course like look them up, and some of them are on the Michelin guide and stuff, but you can just get whatever looks good, and like you could do your own food tour, and it's super safe and easy. And we didn't do that. We did this food tour, and it was so frustrating because And then the guide we had, you couldn't understand her. So whatever she was, the little bit of like information she was giving, we couldn't hear her and understand her. She had like a really thick accent, and it was the whole, and you were so miserable the whole time. I mean, we were both miserable, but like it went way too long too.
Oh yeah.
And
we were just like,
we were so ready to go, and we were just unhappy the entire time, thinking like, oh man, I wish we did not do this, because we totally could have just done it on our own and had a much better experience. But that was like a paid tour with a guide that we did, and that was probably like the worst thing we did this year. Well, in my opinion, one of the worst things we did this year, because I do so much research to make sure that we don't have bad experiences. But would you say it was pretty bad?
Mm-hmm. But we did do other food tours, and they were really great along that trip. So,
but I will say, if you are going to do a food tour,
private,
it's just best to do private,
or don't do it.
Private or don't do it, because with a small group, it's still not good. If it's private, like all the other ones we did that trip, it was just me and you, and like if it's like something that you're like, they'll ask you, be like, oh, do you guys want to try this? And you're either gonna be like, oh my god, yeah, let's try it, or you're like, no, or I already tried that, or whatever, and then you just move on. So, and it was in a lot of them that we did, like the one that was horrible was very structured. The other ones were much more like a local taking you to try their favorite things, or like local things, and so it was a lot.
And
more
it's like, more like, what do you guys like to eat? And she's like, okay, well, I want to take you here and here to try these, because she knows you guys like these certain things.
And you're in like a shop, and you're like, oh, have you guys tried this? And we're like, oh, not yet. She's like, oh my god, really? You have to try that. And she just bought it for us to try and stuff. So that was a great experience. But it was like, we have to stick to this schedule. We have these already pre-approved things by this company. It was just not good. I would avoid anything that's like super structured like that, because then like we were like, oh, can we get our Turkish coffee with our baklava? And she's like, yeah, that's fine, but you're gonna have to pay that on your own. It was like not very much money, but it was like, really, you couldn't just include that with whatever we're paying? Like the other ones we did, it was just like whatever you want kind of thing, So,
right. And you tip your guide. So.
You tip, of course, yeah. So it was we had a really incredible 2025 in terms of like travel and food experiences. And I'm so excited for 2026.
This is the year of not less travel, supposedly.
I don't know about that.
Well, that's what we planned and we discussed, and we see how far that goes.
Well, we will definitely be making more episodes to talk about our travels and adventures, and we're definitely looking forward to having other people on and hearing about their trips and their experiences. And thank you so much for listening, and until next time, keep traveling.
Be safe. Have
fun. Be safe. Keep traveling. Be safe. Have fun.
Like he said.